Hello, students. This is Miss Dunlap, and today we're going to be reviewing word problems or the strategy on how to solve word problems. Solving word problems in this lesson, you will learn how to use the read, write, draw strategy to help you solve word problems. Your learning target. Your learning target, I can solve real world problems involving addition or subtraction of fractions. I can choose the correct operation to solve word problems. Here is a representation of what the read, draw. I call it read, write, draw. This one has read, draw, write, but it's pretty much the same difference. You're going to read the problem, you're going to draw and label the problem, and you're going to write a number sentence and a statement. Here are examples of a problem. One showing a tape diagram, the other showing a number bond. We're not going to be using the number bond today. We are going to use similar tape grams. Here's your word problem. Carrie has 2 meters of ribbon. She cuts off pieces of ribbon that are 5/10 meter, 1/10 meter, and 7/10 meter. How long is the remaining piece of ribbon? Again, you're going to rewrite your question as a statement. Example, the remaining piece of ribbon is. 2, you'll begin to model your problem using drawings and labeling. If you see here, I've broken the problem down, values to consider, the 2 meters, 5/10, 1/10, 7/10. Your fractions, you need to make sure that you identify what your fractions are. You're dealing with tenths in this particular problem. 2 meters equals 2 wholes. Since we're dealing with 10 tenths, that's 10 tenths plus 10 tenths, and that will give you 20 tenths. The model here you see is broken down. It was drawn into tenths, both of those representing your 2 meters, and then you identify or should be identifying each of your fractions. Once we do that, we end up with remaining 7/10 fractions. So you were putting the problem, the remaining piece of ribbon is 7/10. I'm going to provide some practice problems, which I will be reviewing and grading later. And just remember, you rock and you roll.
Okay, sorry. What is the problem? Read the problem.
2/8 of a garden is planted in beans and 1/8 in carrots. How much is left over for other vegetables?
Okay, so we're dealing with fractions. So what's the total equal parts of our fraction?
8.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
Draw a model.
Okay, draw your model. Do me a favor, those last two on the end, just kind of clean them up just a little bit. No, okay, do this. Instead of doing, okay. They don't have to be perfect. All right, so what does the problem say now?
2/8 of a garden is planted in beans.
Okay, stop right there. So 2/8 is planted in beans. No, at least pay attention. So, how will you represent that on your graph?
So you say 2.
Okay. So that represents, go ahead and put underneath there. What does that represent?
The beans.
Okay, go ahead and write that. So this is what I want you to do when you're sitting at your desk. You're by yourself. So go ahead and write under that. What is that? What does that represent?
2/8.
Okay. All right, change your color. Doesn't matter what you change it to. All right. Now what are you going to represent now?
1/8.
1/8 is what?
It's carrots.
Okay, go ahead and put. All right. Now, no, you have to put is, just put carrots. I want you to look at carrots again on that paper. Because if it's there spelled correctly for you, there's no reason why it should be spelled incorrectly. There you go. Now, Noelise, how many are left? Say it out loud. I can't hear you. How many are left? Huh? Huh? I can't hear you.
How many are left? The parts are not shaded.
How many are left? Huh?
How many are not shaded?
Did you count it?
Yes, she's right.
Oh, you know what? Look at your, I want you to look at your model and make sure you have 8 equal parts on there. Count them.
Ah! Oh, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is not equal part. That's an 8. Oh!
It's okay. No, she's good. So you have 8 parts up there?
Yeah.
You sure you counted
1,
them?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
All right. Now, how many do you have left?
5.
How many do you have left, Noelise? How many are left that are not shaded? Aviana, step to the side so Noelise can see. How many do you have left that are not shaded?
So how many are left? These
Are not shaded. What is it? 5. So what fraction is that?
I mean, yes, it is.
So 5/8. So what I want you guys to do when you are doing this, I want you to sit at your desk, and I want you to draw. Remember I said you got to read it, you got to write it, you got to draw it. Okay?
See, we read the problem. We write it and we drew.
And you drew. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Noelise? Is that helpful? Noelise, is that helpful? Yes or no? Okay. All right, thank you, Aviana. Order. I see. Okay. All right, this is our interview with Michael Lee,
Hi.
Gabriela Aguila,
Hi.
Deborah West,
Hi.
Aviana Pena. And in this interview, the students are going to be talking about what they learned with the read, write, draw strategy, starting with Michael. So Michael, I'm going to ask you to describe what you learned.
So what I learned is that sometimes you, in a word problem, there doesn't have to be like just one equation you have to do. Sometimes there can be multiple. Like, for example, you have to add and subtract sometimes, or you can multiply and then you have to divide. I also learned that when you have a model and you can shade it in and split it into equal parts like a picture, and then once you do that, it can explain a lot more and it can show how you basically got your answer, so you'll get credit for it.
All right. And would you say that that helps you make a connection with the word problem and what you need to do in solving that problem?
Yes,
And,
because like say if there were 8/8 of a garden and 3/8 were used, and it said how much more was for fruit, you could draw a model with 8 equal parts and shade in 3/8, and it's so easy because you can count the parts that are not shaded, and that's your answer because it's basically like subtracting, because whoever is not shaded is what's left.
all right, good job. And if you had to give us your weakness, what would you say your weakness for word problems would be?
Right? Honestly, I don't think I have any, but there's one that my teacher really gets on to me about, and I really have to work on. It's my handwriting.
Okay, well that's okay about the handwriting. We're gonna focus on the word problem, but good job. Yes, work on that handwriting. You're getting better.
Okay.
All right, Miss
Aguila.
Miss Aguila. Oh, it's Aguila.
Yes.
That's I pronounced it wrong. Miss Aguila. What would you? Can you describe what you learned in the read, write, draw strategy?
Okay, so what I learned in read, write, draw strategy is that whenever you have a whole number that is just not a fraction, it is a fraction, but not just one simple fraction. So a whole number is basically a fraction that is a whole.
And how would you write a whole number that represents a fraction? Let's say I think you used eights. So how would you write eights as a whole number?
Eights as a whole number, I would draw my model, which is 8, break it into 8 equal parts, and I would just shade all of them.
Okay. And once you shaded those all, that represents your what?
8 eighths.
Okay, that represents. And what is 8/8?
8 eighths is a whole.
All right, good job. And did you understand? Do you understand fully how to break down your problem or take a word problem and decompose it in a way where you're doing your models to help you understand the problem?
Yes.
Okay. Any weaknesses? What would you say your weakness would be?
Well, in my opinion, I think my weakness would be the whole numbers and how to like break them down if you have more than one whole number.
Okay. But do you think that you going forward that you have the strategy would help you be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Good job. Miss Deborah, Miss West. All right, your turn now. Can you describe to me what you learned?
So I learned the strategy, read, write, and draw strategy, that like if you have 4/8 and 1/8 of the time is running out, how many is left? So what you can do is draw a model and shade 4 out of 8 and subtract 1 out of 8, and it gives you 3 out of 8.
Okay. All right. And what would you say your weakness would be?
Changing the question into a sentence.
Changing the question into a statement. Okay. Well, we'll work on that. We'll work on that, and hopefully, once we work on it a little more, that will no longer be a problem for you. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, Miss Pena. Let's see. What did you learn? Can you describe for me what you learned?
Yes. I learned the read, write, draw strategy. It helps you solve the problem. And the problem that I did was 2/8 of a garden is planted in beans and 1/8 in carrots. How much carrots is left for other vegetables? So I draw a model and I shaded 2/8. And then I shaded 1/8 of it. And then it left me 5/8 left. So I wrote my sentence, and it was there is 5/8 vegetables left. And so that is how I solved my problem.
All right, good job. And so if you're saying, what do you say that your weakness would be, Aviana?
My weakness would be soft. My weakness would be how to model the problem.
How to model a problem? You think so? Because I just saw your paper. You did a pretty good job modeling. So you're saying that's your weakness?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Was it your weakness before or after we did the lesson? Okay. So since we did the lesson, or you were able to see the screencast, would you say that it's gotten better?
Yes, it gotten much better.
All right, that's what I want to hear. All right, so good job, guys. Thumbs up if we all understand what we did. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Great job, guys. Thank you for the interview. Student work.